Okay, here we go again. This is part 2 of price elasticity. This presentation handles only about the exercises we've seen in the first installment of price elasticity, like the first video I've made. I hope you took your time to make these exercises on your own before watching this video. I will place timestamps in the description of this video so you can see when I start talking about a certain exercise. So if you're stuck with, let's say, exercise 2, you can go to the description of this video, click on exercise 2, and you will only watch that exercise. And then you can continue trying the other ones as well on your own. Because it's very important you try these at least once on your own, or maybe consult another colleague of yours before you watch this video. It's really important you think about this on your own. Okay, I will immediately go to the exercise itself. So I have to skip these slides first, of course. Blah 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 blah. Here, here we are. So exercise 1. The only thing we get is a demand curve with goes like this: minus 5 times p plus 300 will give us a certain demand curve. We know that the price will go from 10 euros to 8 euros, so we see a price decrease. So this means we actually expect an increase in demand, right? Because if prices go down, we will, for people like Brock or James from the previous video, they will buy more goods. Okay, and the question here sounds as follows: it's calculate the price elasticity. Okay, that's it. So, um, this is not too difficult. The only thing that's new here is that we do not really get the demand of our person here. The thing is, we have the demand curve, and this will give us plenty of information about this person. Okay. The thing we have to do right here is find the quantities first. This we can do as follows. The thing is, we will put the prices in the equation, and this will give us a quantity. So the first one over there, you see a 10 in the brackets over here. This means the price will be 10. If I put a 10 where the p used to be, I will get a very easy equation, and this will give me 250. So this could be a case where a company um, or someone else, like a person, will buy 250 units of some kind of good. Let's say eggs, for example. So this person will, if prices are 10, he will buy 250 boxes of eggs or something like that. And we see if we enter the 8 instead of 10, we will get 260 units. This is obvious because if prices go down, people will normally buy more stuff, right? Or more eggs in this example. So the quantity went from 250 to 260. Okay, now we have all the information we need, and we can go on to calculate the price elasticity. So I hope you remember um, over here in the numerator, we will have the change in demand. So the change obviously is 10. We will divide that by the initial demand 2, so this is 250. This will be divided by, once again, the change in price right now, which equals 2. You could write down a minus 2 over here because the prices actually went down. But as we have seen before, we are working with the absolute terms over here. And this will give us a 2. We will divide by 10 because 10 was the initial price. And in the end, we will get 0.2. Now, this is where the exercise ends usually, but I can ask you one more question actually, and that's, is this the demand over here, the price elasticity, do we see a price elastic or inelastic demand over here? Think about it first before I say my answer. So perhaps pause the video here. Okay, 0.2 is a value lower than 1, which means the demand over here is price inelastic. Okay? This means that this person of this company does not react that much when prices change. So we see that the price went actually down with 20%, which is quite a lot, 20%, while the demand only changed with 4%. So 4% versus 20%, we can obviously see here the demand reacts in a um, less strong way. Okay, it's not that much. That's why this company or the demand of this company or person, the demand for these eggs is price inelastic. Okay, good. Second exercise right now. So yeah, here we are dealing with a price inelastic demand since the elasticity price demand is lower than. That should be obviously one. This should be one. So please write one over here. It's not a zero. It's wrong. Okay. Exercise number two. This looks like we are getting not that much of information, right? But believe me, this is enough because we know that the price drop is 10%. So we know that the changes in price over here, this would be actually a better way to put it. The change in price is 10%. Okay. The E stands for price elasticity, and we see that it's -2. We see that the minus is still over here because in this exercise we will see that the minus will make a difference in the end. So we just know that there is a minus, yeah. And the question is calculate the percentage change in quantity demanded. Now, you might be confused right now because I said that the minus was not really that important in our regular exercises, right? But here it is. Let me first tell you why there is a minus over there. Actually, the price elasticity of demand is always negative because there is a negative relation between demand and price. That means that if the price goes up, well, demand goes down because it's too expensive to buy goods. And if the price goes down, it's suddenly more interesting to buy goods, so quantity will go up. So these two share a negative relation. That's why there is a minus over there, okay? And right now, it's important to take the minus in our story, right? So remember the formula. Of course, you need to know this, okay? You will not get this for free on your test or on your exam. Please know this formula. This time we know the price elasticity and the change in price. So we know a couple of things. If we start with a easier way to put this formula, we can actually see that price elasticity is about a change in demand and a change in price. Now, the actual thing behind this is over here, right? This is just a way to put it. This is like, yeah, to make it more simple. If I go on, I can enter a few credentials already. So I can say that the elasticity is 2, or actually -2, and we also know that the change in price was 10%, and the change was a decrease in price. So that's why I will write down minus 0.1. So 0.1 comes from the 10%. Okay, so this is way easier to put it than this thing over here because I already know the numerator from my question itself. Okay, there's no need to do it this way right now. So this is actually a simple equation. I just have to find my change in demand right now. This is my unknown variable. So if I go on, I can actually put everything on the same denominator, okay? And this will give me this in the end, okay? That's it. So just put them on the same denominator and then we're there. And the change in demand apparently is 0.2, which means we have a change of 20%, a positive number, 20%, which is normal. We saw that the price elasticity was -2, which indicates a price elastic demand, right? Which means that the demand or the change in demand should be bigger than the change in price. And that's correct over here because we had a change in price of only 10%, while demand is reacting with 20%, which is bigger. Okay, so everything here um, looks to be correct. Good. This means we can go to the third and, in my opinion, the more difficult exercise. So we know that prices go down from 50 to 40. We once again know the price elasticity. Right now, we also know something else. We know the new quantity demanded to be 512,000 units. The question is, calculate the original quantity demanded. Okay, this question is once again completely different than the previous one. Okay, let's first just look what we have. Start with examining the formula. This thing over here, well, I've already done some work as you can see. Well, just hide it for now. Please focus with me on the formula over here. So we know the elasticity already. So this number is given to us. What we also know is the price change. So we will be able to find the denominator as well over here. The denominator, I should say, actually. Um, but the thing is, our hidden or unknown value is present over here. We know that the absolute change in demand can be found by subtracting the um, old demand from the new one and then dividing it once again by the old demand or the initial one. This is a way to put it. So the elasticity is a given thing. This one over here, the minus 0.2, comes from my question. So I will go back for now. So from 50 to 40, if you calculate the change in price over there, you will find a price drop of 20%. Okay, I will not repeat how I get that number of 20%. It's because of this formula over here. Okay, you should know this already. Now, the numerator is the problem because we know that we have to find the absolute change. That's the new demand minus the old demand. And now we have to divide it by the initial demand, aka the old demand, the first thing we had, right? Um, we know the new demand. We know that it was 512,000 euros units, excuse me, from the question itself. The old amount will be our unknown variable or x value. Okay, so if I replace the unknown thing by x, I get this thing over here. So old amount became an x. This thing over here, the minus 0.2, I already brought it to the other side of my equation. So I multiplied minus 1.4 with minus 0.2, which gave me 0.28. Once again, I have to put this x over here, and I get this thing. And with some simple mathematical uh, calculations, I will arrive at my answer. X equals 400,000 units. And now we have to ask ourselves, can this be possible? Can this be true? Let's see. Um, since elasticity is 1.4, this means that our demand will be price elastic, right? So demand will change in a stronger way than the price did change. And that's correct because, as we can see over here, um, our start was 400,000 apparently, or units. This went up, right? And the prices went down. So this all fits in the picture. This is all correct. Also, when you get a question like this on your test or exam, I will always make sure you arrive at a rounded number. So if you would get an answer with like comma 5678, a very ugly number, something like that, then there is something wrong. I will always make sure you get a well-rounded number like this one. Okay. This brings us at the last exercise, exercise 4. Um, So Ahmed, he loves restaurants. He earns a lot of money every month, and this allows him to keep visiting his favorite places to eat at. Okay. So Alina is also a foodie, as we call it. She loves to eat out too. Sadly, she is a student and has to pay all of her bills by herself, so she works perhaps on the weekend. But the prices go up in the restaurants because maybe a shortage of ingredients, perhaps something like that, or too much clients are interested in restaurants right now, and prices go up. So she would skip eating out, and she will go and cook every single night instead of eat out. Okay. So the question was that we had to draw two demand curves, one for Ahmet and one for Alina, and we had to explain the concept of price elasticity as well. Now, before we are going to do this, we have to know how this works. So before we tackle the problem, let's look at a general example. So I'm using three different colors over here. Excuse me. So we have Barry, blue. Riley has the red color, and then we have Eve. Eve is using the yellow color. Okay. On the x-axis, we see quantity. On the y-axis, we see price. Let's start with looking at Barry first. So the price of a certain good or service is 30 euros, right? 30 euros. And at this point, Barry will buy 10 units. So 10 units for the same price of 30 euros. Riley, well, she will buy 20 units over here. Once again, for the same price, Eve will buy 30 units. Let's say we're buying DVDs over here. Okay, we're buying DVDs. Now, something happens and the price goes to 20 euros. Barry used to buy 10 of them. Now he buys 15 of them. He will buy 5 more because, well, the prices went down. Okay, so he says, okay, I'm going to buy 5 more. Now, Riley, she will suddenly buy 20 more of this price change, or because of this price change. And Eve, he will, instead of buying 30, he will buy 70. Okay, now, what do we learn over here? The thing is, I might do it another way, so excuse me for the explanation over here. It's perhaps more interesting if I talk about this in a different manner. Let's say the other way happens. It happens the other way around. Let's say the first price is 20 and then we go to 30. Like Barry over here, first he is at 15 and then he will still buy 10, while Riley first buys 40, then suddenly only buys 20, and Eve, well, he started with 70 over here and now we're over here. So you can actually see this story in both ways, right? The thing is, if your curve is very steep, like the one Barry is using, or Barry's one is very steep, this actually will mean that Barry is quite price inelastic. So the change in price will not influence his quantity that much. Okay, it's quite inelastic. Riley, however, her curve is more flat than Barry's one, and you will see that in both scenarios, if prices go up or prices go down, she will react in a very different manner. She has a stronger reaction than Barry. And Eve, well, Eve is completely different than the others. His curve is very flat in comparison with Barry and Riley's one. And this means he is very elastic because you see, when prices change, he reacts in a very different way than the two others are reacting. He's very sensitive to price changes. So if prices go up, he will buy way less than he used to. But if prices go down, he will buy way more than he used to. You see? So once again, A flat curve represents a elastic demand, while a steep curve represents a inelastic demand, right? So, with this knowledge, we can actually continue with our question. So, steeper curves belong to a price inelastic demand. So, Ahmed has plenty of money, which will mean he is quite inelastic. He doesn't really care that much about the prices. He has money. And Alina, she has a low budget, so she will be very sensitive when something happens with the prices. So she's quite elastic. Well, her demand is quite elastic, rather. I've used some colors for the names over here. You can see them here once again. The green one belongs to Ahmet because, well, he doesn't really care that much if prices go up or down because he has the money. While Elena, she has a low budget and things are completely different for her. Okay, how can we read this graph? So we can see over here, let's say restaurant visits per month. Ahmet is doing 8 per month or per week, even we don't know. Let's say let's say 8 per week. Okay, 8 per week. That's a lot, of course. All that's every day and on one day, even 2 times. So the red one obviously belongs to Alina. So she used at a price of, let's say, 3.5. She goes out 8 times. But when prices are at something above 6, she only goes like between 1 and 2 times per week. While Ahmet, when prices are high, he still goes, let's say, around 1 time, while he only went over here like 2.5 times. I know this doesn't really fit the question itself because Ahmet goes more often, according to the question. But the most important thing over here is that you're able to draw a more flat line for Alina and a more steep line for Ahmet. Okay, that's the most important thing over here. The graph is not entirely correct. The red one should be a bit more to the left, while the green one should be a bit more to the right to fit the question. But still, if you give me this and you tell me this thing over here, you're good. Okay? So, that's it. Those were the 4 questions. I think they took a lot of time to explain, but these questions deserve a lot of time, I think, because it's an important concept and it's not really that easy from the start, but once you get down how this works, I think it's okay and not too difficult. Okay, so if you have questions regarding this video, you can leave them in the comments. And of course, you can always send me a mail with your questions too. I will make one more video about price elasticity, and this will be about very special cases. About a guy called Engel. I'm probably saying that like a bit wrong, but Ernst Engel, I think his name was, and he made some discoveries regarding price elasticity, which I really would like to share with you. Okay, I will see you in that next video. Bye.